Hello, I'm going to show you how I created my daughter's chain chomp plushie. I used a pattern from ChloeKnight.com. I will leave her link down below if you want to take a look at her pattern. This is one of her older patterns which did not include an embroidery pattern for the eyes. So I just created my own embroidery file using ink stitch, but her original pattern does include the applique pattern pieces. Anyways, once I got my eyes embroidered onto my black fabric, I cut 3 of these football shaped pattern pieces. One of them will include the eyes out of black and then another one out of red, making sure that the stretch is going horizontal to this football piece. And I used fleece material to make this. For the teeth, I just used this zigzag piece and I cut 2 of these out of white fleece. I did use this heat and bond and I did apply it to the teeth. This will make the teeth easier to satin stitch onto my red piece. And then I'll take those teeth and I will align them on the red football piece, one on the top and one on the bottom. And then I will go ahead and iron that heat and bond onto it. Since I'm going to be stitching this on with my sewing machine, I will be using a satin stitch, which has a small stitch length on it. I want to make sure that my machine's not going to eat it, so I will be using some tearaway stabilizer to make that happen. And here is the satin stitch all done. And then I go ahead and take my 3 black football pieces. I will take the one with the eyeballs and attach it to the mouth, doing right sides to right side. And then the other 2 pieces will be the back of the head, and I will attach those together, right sides to right sides as well. With those pieces connected, I will go ahead and attach the 2 solid black pieces to the mouth and the eyes, leaving a 3-inch gap in the seam so I can turn it around and then stuff it with pillow fluff. I I do also stuff this with some remnant fleece that I use for some other plushies. With it as stuffed as I can get it, I go ahead and use a ladder stitch and close up that hole. To make the chains for this chain chomp, I go ahead and take this long rectangle piece and I will cut 5 of these out, and I will also cut 2 of these circle pieces out as well. And I did not have this color in fleece, so I use felt. And I will cut 1 of the long skinny rectangles out. Taking the long skinny rectangle piece, I will go ahead and sew it together so it creates a loop. And then I will attach one side to one of those circles. And then attach the other side to the other circle, but leaving about an inch gap so that way I can stuff it with some polyfill. And then I stitch that closed. I had made another one of these chain chomps that was double the size for my brother, and I did this a bit differently. I went ahead and sewed up everything without leaving the hole, and then to flip it right sides out, I cut a slit in one of these circle pieces and flipped it inside out, filled it with polyfill, and then I sewed that hole closed since it's going to be up next to the chain chomp anyways. It just made it look cleaner in the end. And speaking of the connection, I used a ladder stitch to connect this all the way around. To make the chain links itself, I take the larger rectangle pattern, I will fold this in half lengthwise, and I will sew up that side seam, leaving the 2 ends open. The actual pattern instructions were different on this one. They were a little confusing, plus it was made with a softer material where you can move it around a little bit better. Since felt's a little on the stiffer side, I chose to do it a little differently. And the way I did it is with the 2 open pieces. Since it is felt, I don't have to worry about seams fraying. I just go ahead and stuff one side in the other, and I ladder stitched it closed to make the first link. Then I will take the other link, loop it through that first one, and do the same thing to close it up. And with all 5 links connected, I go ahead and sew that with the ladder stitch to the gray circle on the back of Chain Chomp. And with that, the plushie is done. Like I said, I created a bigger one that's double the size for my brothers so they can have Chain Chomp Wars. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, and share, and comment, and I will see you next time. Bye.